what is this podcast about? It probably would help if you don't chew into the mic.
My name is Libby.
My name is Luke.
In this new episode.
This
new season.
And we are going to be focusing completely on weddings.
We are, in fact, the wedding pirates.
There's no other podcast like this. I've looked. I've checked.
And we have a cat. Her name is Stella.
We want to share all the secrets when it comes to weddings.
The one where we talk. Wedding edition.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of The One Where We Talk. This is season 2. We're breaking down all things weddings and simply related to us, the wedding pirates, breaking down all the things. And today we have a very special guest. She's my mom.
Hi.
Hi, Mom. So the reason why I have you on today, my mom's visiting from the grand state of Wisconsin, and I wanted to get her on a podcast here because she was a wedding coordinator back in the day. And this is something that I tell all my brides and grooms because they say, why should I trust you? And I say, well, my mom was a wedding coordinator. And they're like, oh, so you've been in this for a long time. I'm like, well, I haven't been in this all my life, but I was raised around weddings. That's why I'm so comfortable around them. They don't make me nervous. And for a lot of people, they don't do weddings because it makes them nervous. So I want you to unpack what it looked like during the time when you were wedding coordinating in Chicago, and we could set the scene of what this actually looked like and what my role was, because I was 8, 9 when you started.
Yes. Yeah.
So what was your role exactly as a wedding coordinator back in the day? What were you doing? Because it looks way different now. There's no social media or anything.
No, nothing. There was Pinterest, but that was it. And that was very minimal.
There was Pinterest?
Like little bits of it. It was late.
What year was this?
Early 2000, late 90s, right in there. Somewhere in there was something that resembled Pinterest, because they had all these pictures and all these ideas, and it was fun to start it, and they really liked what I did. I was everything to them. So I picked out dresses and colors and coordinated people, and I did all the floral if it was artificial.
I remember that.
Even some fresh, I did everything. So I was new at it, but it was things I had dabbled in before. So it was just all came together being a wedding coordinator.
Right, because you were crafty.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So
Were those baskets called the expensive ones? What's the name?
Longaburgers.
Longaburger baskets.
Yes, I had
Yeah, you were that generation of
I
Longaburger
was.
baskets. They're amazing.
Yeah,
Why? I don't
like,
know why.
It's
I don't understand.
$125. What? I'm putting bread in it?
Yeah.
Can't afford the bread. But all that stuff like that. They would have me do everything. Then the first one was good. She let me have free reign. She had enough money where I can do whatever I wanted. We just blew out the floral, and it was during Christmas. It was fun. The rest of them were kind of nightmares because of the fact that I was learning on the first one, and then I knew on the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, that you couldn't do those things. So it was interesting because they wanted things like, no, you can't have that. Why? Because it's not possible. We'll hire somebody. Who?
Do you have the budget for that?
You don't have any money. So it was interesting to see that I suddenly became, I'm firstborn. I was bossy. That was my job.
Yeah.
It was a good job. And you were my gopher. I mean, you were always there, always by my side, because you were that third child that could do all those things. And you watched me, you sat with me. There were no iPhones, so we just talked, and you got things for me, you cut things for me, you ran with me, got to the store with me. You went to Hobby Lobby more than any.
Yeah. I grew up
10-year-old.
Grew up in Hobby Lobby practically.
Hold my flowers, push my cart. So,
Yeah.
That was you watched what people did to me, how they talked to me. You learned from that, how the bride was. You learned.
Yeah,
You saw that.
I would see the emotion from the bride. I would see brides confused, like, wait, I don't understand why I can't have that.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, I would see, I have this I don't know why it's a memory, but it was a wedding that you did, and you were passing, I remember the whole process of it. It was a card holder and you were trying to put this idea together for this place where people could put the cards,
Oh, yes.
and it was a bird cage.
Yes, it was a bird cage.
And you like put ribbons on it, and it was white, and it was really pretty. I remember the bride. You put a lot of work into this, and there was a lot of talk about it, a lot of planning went into it. And then when the bride saw it for the first time, I just remember her excitement, like, "Oh, it looks so pretty!"
Yes.
Like she was so excited to
Yes.
see it. And I just remember thinking, "It's a bird cage."
Yes. And it was a garbagey one. It wasn't. I
Yeah.
got it from somewhere.
And she didn't have a very large budget either.
No,
so
she didn't. So
that
I
was
had to go with that.
You were on the cusp of DIY weddings.
Yes.
Before the mason
Yes.
jars, before the
Yes.
barn weddings.
We were making those ideas.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was doing. And
Yeah.
it was, when you're limited in budget, it really helps you to be way more creative.
Mm-hmm.
So we had, one of them had a wedding, and they had a rope, a flower rope.
Oh, I do remember that. And it was
And during the rehearsal, the flower rope fell apart,
Yeah.
which symbolizes marriage. And like, oops, I fixed it.
okay. I fixed it. Yeah.
But things like that, or the bride that wanted, it was in May, and she wanted a wedding outside. I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
it's not
'cause
happening.
In the Midwest, that is nope.
It,
That's a
and
no-go.
it was. It's like, I'm not doing it. Well, you can get tents. You get tents.
You get tense. Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't realize. When early 2000 weddings, it was not a boom in the industry. There
No.
was barely internet. There was
Yeah.
barely Pinterest. We didn't have Instagram. You didn't have just a plethora of. Now, if you want a tent, there's
nothing.
a million and one places you can take from, and they're all competing on prices. If you can get a
Yes.
tent tomorrow, but now, back then,
Oh,
like,
we went to
who do
this
you
one
call?
dirty little place, no parking lot, nothing, to get all our stuff, like rentals, candelabras, things like that.
Yeah.
It's just a horrible place. And but it was cheap. It was around the corner. We rented it, and that was
Yeah.
the only place in the whole area.
How'd
in
you find that
Chicago
place?
suburb. I just passed it all the time. I knew where it was.
Because there wasn't Google Maps. We
No,
were,
no.
nobody could afford a GPS.
No.
yet. So
And
it's-
and what do you put in?
right.
Wedding
Yeah,
rentals?
Where do you
Nobody knew.
go? There wasn't anything. We didn't even SEO and Google, like that was still.
Yeah, there
we-
was.
we
Yeah,
take-
you were
we
talking
take these
dial
things
up.
for granted. Like the fact, like even this podcast, listening to radio was podcast, and now anybody could have their own radio station, and anybody
Yes.
could have their own podcast. It's just
Yes.
a new thing. So,
Even music.
yeah,
It's like, what CD do you have? These parts didn't
Yeah.
know classical. They all were picking, air on a G string, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, you can't- there's more, There is.
Yeah.
Yeah. More, way more. But all those things that you had to reach out to other people or discover yourself, it took a lot of legwork. It was
Yeah.
hard work. Was it appreciated? No. I yelled at a lot of future moms, future mother-in-laws.
yeah. I do remember your biggest battle were parents.
Yes, yelling at me, calling me. Sometimes other relatives, but
Yeah, and that definitely hasn't changed. I know there's a lot of coordinators that we work with who just go through that, and they have to. A lot of the coordinators now, like they were, my age when you were coordinating, so they're a little bit more. You have to be tough in the wedding industry today, but back then. You didn't know. Like, nobody knew.
No,
you can't
they
just Google
didn't.
anything. You didn't have a supercomputer in your hand where you can just look
No.
up an idea or show a video. YouTube was barely there. Nobody was doing anything.
No.
And
well,
then,
can I tell a story about what happened to you once?
what? Oh,
You-
gee.
I would stay at the church and arrange everything, especially the week before,
Uh-huh.
really late at night, and somebody had to be there with me, so you were the one, and you would stay there. I left you there once. I forgot you.
Did I know?
I locked the doors. No.
I didn't know
I
that
came
you
back
left
and
me.
got you.
Oh.
And then, it's time to go. Oh, okay. And you just get up, you come with me. I don't know where you were. I don't remember,
Yeah,
but I
'cause-
remember leaving you.
Well, I loved that. I remember, because the church that you primarily did weddings in, I just loved that church. It was big. And
Yes.
There's so much to explore. And,
McDonald's nearby.
and McDonald's was right across the parking lot,
Yep.
so get Happy Meals, and yeah, it was. I was very motivated. It was.
Sure, it was
'Cause-
99-cent Happy Meal on Wednesday night, and
Yeah.
we'd get you a little something,
That's-
and it was fun because you got to explore and run around. But it was that was the reality of what I did, and maybe a dozen weddings, really. But I mean, you were talking about a year for each one,
Right.
or in some, quite a few of them overlapped.
Right.
And
Yeah. And it wasn't, again, the amount of coordinators coordinating wasn't a huge, it was kind of like like back in the, 1800s, if you said you were an attorney, it's like, oh,
Oh,
that is
yes.
such a low paying job.
Yes.
Now you say you're an attorney, like, oh, yeah, it's a high paying
Yes.
job.
Yeah.
Well, so early 2000s coordinators, like they were kind of a thing, but not really. So you
No.
weren't doing 50 weddings a year.
And
Like
you weren't doing all of the little things.
Right.
You were, if you were a coordinator, you're either on the day of, or you were somebody that got everything together through the venues. You didn't do anything like I helped with wedding dresses and bridal, any bridal party stuff, whatever it
So
was.
maybe you were, well, yeah, because now you can separate a wedding coordinator and a wedding planner. That those are
Yes.
two different things
I was
now. But
everything.
you were back
Yes.
then. It was everything. If
Yes.
you want somebody to handle your wedding, everything. You do
Yes.
everything.
I mean, I even printed everything, and I would
Yeah.
sometimes even do the shower. I mean, it was just everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it was, I loved it. It was my thing. I could take all my talent and push it all into
Yeah.
one thing.
Again,
that I
because
was
you were
doing.
crafty and you
Yeah.
did scrapbooking.
And I was bossy.
And you're bossy. Yeah. And it worked. A stay-at-home mom.
Yeah,
you know,
I
so
was
it
good at that.
Yeah.
And I had my sidekick Luke, and
Yeah.
you just happened to be the right age, and you watched it all.
Yeah.
and,
That was
and
right.
then saw it all come together with your little suit and tie. Sometimes,
Yeah,
with your spunders.
I loved wearing that suit.
Yeah,
Well, because
remember.
and then eventually, I started like operating cameras for that church because that was like that was the only way that
Yes.
you got that was the only videography that was known
Yes.
to man, was if the church had cameras, then you got your wedding recorded and that was the end of it.
Yes.
And so that was just fun though. When operating those cameras at a really young age, I think I was
Oh.
10,
10. You were 10.
Yeah.
9, 10. You
9
were,
or 10.
Yes.
And it's like, this is so cool.
Yes.
And all it was just hitting buttons because the cameras didn't really have a lot of movement.
No.
And
Very
it-
jerky.
Yeah, very jerky. There was no dynamic range or any of those things. Like it was just, I think it was 720p. I think that was like the what you could get.
Yeah. It was very grainy. You
Yeah.
couldn't hear anything.
No, you couldn't hear anything.
No.
And mics were not where they are today. And so, as far as like your interaction with photographers, we'll talk about the one videographer that you had interaction with, but your interaction with photographers, like back in the early 2000s, because they were shooting on film.
Oh, yeah. One wedding, we did convince them to put 2 photographers into it because of some of the
photographers?
things. Yeah, we had 2.
Wow,
It was a big deal
That's a big deal.
back then, and it worked out really well. I forget the reasoning, but we needed to. And so it was some of the pictures she wanted, I think, in 2 different places. Other times, it was the hardest thing to convince parents that the photography needed to be big bucks.
Yeah.
Because when you're done, you have a husband or a wife, and you have your pictures, and you have nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
That's it.
And
That's
so
all
you
you
have
got.
no memories unless you did it this way. And I'm sorry, Uncle Joe he did a horrible job.
There was even Uncle
Bad.
Joe's back then.
There
too.
was an Uncle Joe, and
There-
it was so you couldn't even fix him.
Uncle Joe who takes pictures of
Terrible.
birds can do my wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, we
They've
won't-
existed for all time.
Yes, yeah, those pictures are still there. But just things like that. Yes, a lot of them. I had to make sure that they knew that I wasn't, the wedding coordinator from hell. So
Yeah,
I was just
yeah.
like, I'm here to help you, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Tell me where you want to do,
Well,
what
because
you need.
I have some of Lib's dad's camera equipment and his dad's camera equipment, and even just a flash. If you wanted a flash, it didn't connect on the top of your camera. You had to hold it in a separate.
Yes.
And you had its own separate battery on a belt. And if you wanted
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
that was just the idea behind like camera, like photography was. I feel like now it's expensive because the cameras themselves are expensive. Back then, I feel like cameras, if you look at price points of cameras and the dollar to ratio, like how much money people were making per wedding, the camera itself wasn't as expensive as developing what came out of it.
Yes, yes.
And
You needed
Yeah.
the
So then-
photographer who realized that just spend it because
Yeah.
that day's gone forever.
right.
You can't repeat it. And I think the worst photography issue we had was the bride coming in on a horse, side saddle.
I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that.
I'm sorry, I don't know who's supposed to run alongside. It doesn't
Yeah.
work like this.
No,
Um,
because I was still shooting on film. Even
oh
then.
yeah, I don't think we had any digital then.
No,
There was
I remember
such thing.
the first digital camera was something that like, whoa, this is a joke. This will never catch on. This will never be professional.
Yes.
This will. They can't. The screen was like the size of my thumbnail. Like
Yes, and you couldn't see anything. You did, but it was, and you couldn't. You didn't know, like, do you flip out the side? Do you push this in? What about it? Nobody knew how to work it.
Well, chips were 1 gig.
Yes,
you
yes.
know? And I'm pretty sure there was even like megabyte chips, like
There might- yeah.
500, like half a gig, 500 megabytes
Yes.
chips, and that was the first digital camera. That I remember you brought it. Why did you?
Oh.
Why did you buy that?
Because I love to do scrapbooking and all kinds
Yeah.
of anything photography.
And that was a cheaper option
Yeah.
than
Now I still have 20,000 pictures in my
yeah.
clouds.
Yeah.
So it's just always been that. See, this is where you get it from.
Yeah, the
Always,
value
always
of
creative. and-
capturing things.
Yes,
is
the moment.
reason why
I know
love
people
it.
say, well, you got to watch the moment. Well, I want to remember it when I get older. And I look at old pictures. I always look at everybody's albums.
We actually made a reel of, well, why are you always taking pictures? Why don't you just enjoy a moment? Like, I have short-term memory loss.
Yes. Yes.
So I have to
Yeah.
take their picture of the moment so I remember that it happened.
Yeah. And you will. And like years later, you will do that. Or your kids will. I kept everything. I have every picture that was important. And I've even dug them out. And people say, oh, where's this? Here you go.
Yeah.
How about that? I have
Because you were
pictures.
also doing a side gig, like cleaning up old film.
Say that I
You
was.
were because you
Yes.
you got your. I remember when Adobe came out.
Yes.
I think this is really funny
This
because
was
people
big.
ask like, so how long have you been doing this? And I say, well, I was the pretentious little 12-year-old that used Adobe Premiere for the first time when it first came out.
Yes.
I tried the demo. I was like, ew, gross. This is clunky and bad. And then I'm going back to Sony Vegas, and that was my editing
Yes,
software.
and you were the Vegas kid. Yes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even understand that. But
Yeah.
Adobe was great, but the computers wouldn't keep up with Adobe.
Yeah.
And, it's just
But I
that
remember
back and forth.
Adobe Photoshop.
I love
was-
Photoshop.
Yeah, that when that came out, because you realized what you could do with Photoshop, and so then I remember you had another side gig that kind of was born from that because you were cleaning up old film.
Yes, I was cleaning up old negatives.
Yeah,
I was
you were
pulling
and
up
then you had the
negatives.
scanner. You still
Yep.
have that scanner, right?
I don't
Canon
think I have.
scanner?
No, you don't need a scanner now. It's all on your phone. Yes.
Yeah.
But no. Oh, I that's why I have my pictures is because of that. Scanning them on this little days and days and days. I scanned grandma's old recipes
Yeah. Yeah.
and her writing, her mom's writing,
Mhm.
Stuff like that.
Those are
But not-
memories. It's taking
yeah.
pictures and
Her fingerprints are on it.
Yeah.
The fudge.
The fudge.
So all that, photography is okay. So for instance, there is cousins that we don't know about,
Mhm.
and there's only one picture because people didn't take pictures back then.
Yeah.
There's only literally one picture.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. There's
Which
somebody
makes-
died, and we don't know what they look like.
We don't know what we don't know who they are.
That's my uncle, aunt, great uncle.
Which makes sense why you had arguments with parents at
Yes.
weddings because they didn't have any pictures. They probably
Yes.
don't have any pictures from their
yeah,
wedding.
2, 3.
Yeah,
And they're
Like,
terrible.
I don't understand why. Yeah, I don't understand why you need pictures. You don't need pictures. But that generation is basically gone now
Yes.
because
There's
now
still
it's-
some I encounter,
Yeah,
and I try to talk them out of it, but
they're at weddings. They're grandparents now, and they're like, I don't understand why they're in my way. I don't know where this for that. And they're always like, I've got grandmas complaining that I'm in the way of her shot of her phone.
yes,
And I always lean on like, I'm being paid to be here.
yes, yes.
And if I don't
it's-
get this shot, I'm in trouble.
and Grandma, you're probably not going to get the shot.
Yeah. Sorry, Grandma,
Too
you're
short.
probably not going to get the shot. But yeah, so Stella just came in. But she's gone. She always makes an appearance
Makes
in
her
our
appearance.
podcast.
Okay, she
yeah,
has
so-
to.
Okay, so videographers. You had interaction with one videographer, basically, right?
Oh, yeah, and that would only been
And he did the majority of the weddings you were at because he was one of the only ones in the area.
that's Mr.
Mr. Yaka.
Yeah, Mr. Yaka was the only one. And he was so obviously accommodating because he kind of encouraged me too, quite a bit actually,
Yeah.
into getting into this coordinating because it was, a big thing to.
Yeah. And videography was brand new.
Yes.
Nobody was doing it.
And he was so innovative
Yeah.
with his stuff.
He was
Crazy.
making, I remember the titles that
Yes.
he would get animations to like roll across the screen. That was unheard of.
Yes.
And he was just handing VHS tapes. He was editing it, recording it back onto a VHS tape, and then handing it back to the bride and groom. And then I didn't actually start to hang out with him and learn from him until the DVDs came around.
Yes.
And
yes.
then once you found out we can burn DVDs, you could take this off tape, record it to your capture it, because so back in the day, in order to get video onto your program, you had to have a special converter. So your camera plugged into the converter, and then the converter plugged into your computer. And then you would record. You would press play and hit record on your computer, and it would record it onto the computer.
Yes.
And then you would edit that.
Deal. Yes.
And then you got to burn it to a DVD. It was
yes.
like.
Yes. And handing these cute little DVDs to everybody.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah. But no, there's just a lot. I know like 20 minutes probably isn't enough to cover all this, but I just want to assure people that this is real. I don't just say that I have a mom that was a wedding coordinator. It's actually real. My inspiration is real. I love weddings for a reason.
Yes.
And
he did a lot of work. He did a lot of stuff because, everybody needs a gopher, and he was mine.
Yeah.
But
I was always a good gopher.
And his first wedding he went to, he was 3. And we told him he could bring one thing with.
I remember that.
And I love this. I still have it.
The bug.
It. Yep.
It
Not
was
just a bug, a roach.
It was
you
a roach.
bought a stuffed roach to the wedding and then swung it around by its arms.
It was a Raid brand. It was because Raid's mascot was a green roach, and I had that green roach.
And that's what you brought. Like,
swinging it around. Yeah.
Never forget that. So yeah, you've been there forever. This was your destiny.
This is my destiny.
Yes.
This is I'm working in my dream job.
Yes, you are with a roach at first.
Thanks for listening. That's all we have time for today. Remember to follow at Broadside Visuals on Instagram. You can go to broadsidevisuals.com to just see who we are as humans and for all your wedding pirate needs. And remember, this is the one where we talk, so please rate it. And Mom, usually we tell people to have a wonderful day. So if you want to tell people,
Have a wonderful day.